think we're live. I think we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to each and every one of you. It is Sunday evening. What an evening. We'll hear the president speak. Probably just one of the biggest exercises in futility in this country is hearing the president speak about anything. Because I don't particularly think the man has ever had anything worthwhile saying. But this is definitely, I think, one of the more important meetings of Ramaphosa's life. Probably more important than his first ever family meeting that he called during COVID, because you kind of get a sense that the country is on a knife's edge. People are angry. A lot of people feel like the change that Ramaphosa promised has not occurred, which is not wrong. I mean, let's be very real here. The man has been catastrophic as a president. And I feel like a lot of people are on the verge of saying, "Hey, we've had enough," which will be bad, right? So we'll have to wait and see how this is actually going to play out. How are you guys doing, by the way? How's your Sundays going? I hope everyone is doing well. I don't know if chat's going yet. I don't know if it's working yet. So if you're in chat, if you're waiting, just type something so I know everything's working as intended. Because otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to be talking to myself, or I'll be listening to Mr. Ramaphosa say bullshit. Grasshopper, how you doing? Ritik, how you doing, sir? Going okay, thanks there. Ritik, I can't complain. I woke up feeling like crap. Went to church. That was fun. But I was very tired. And then when I got home, for some reason, I got even more tired. And I've been spending the entire Sunday basically like this. Just desperately trying to keep myself awake. I don't know why. Because I slept fine, but for some reason, not enough. So yeah, I had some soup, which was good. Some Mexican chicken soup, which was absolutely fantastic. And then, yeah, I'm here now. Roger, how you doing? Celluloid, how you doing? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How do you guys feel? Do you think Ramaphosa is gonna say? I need to figure out how to say this without laughing. Do you think Ramaphosa is going to say anything worth listening to? Because when I asked my dad, because I messaged my dad, I was like, what do you think Ramaphosa is going to say? Do you think he's going to actually act against the minister? My dad literally just started laughing. That was it. Didn't give me an answer. He just laughed. And that was the end of the conversation. I was like, all right, good chat. This is great. Yeah, I feel like most people know corruption does not get punished, at least not in this country. How long are we out? We are about 26 minutes to go on this hellish live stream. Well, 26 minutes by official time, South African time, probably like another 40 minutes or so has exploded over the past week, and so much more has been exposed. Yeah, I feel like, so you have, for example, Mkhwanazi, who has asked Ramaphosa to put him on leave. That's at least according to the Sunday Times. I'm not subscribing to the Sunday Times as well. I'm already forced to subscribe to News 24, and I nearly threw up as I did that. So I'm not subscribing to the Sunday Times as well. But I've seen some other tweets sort of alleging the same thing. And there's something very awkward. And I think, in my opinion at least, in every other country on earth, right? So if this happened in America, for example, or if this happened in the UK or even in Europe, do you think the president or the prime minister of the nation would wait a whole week to address his people? Do you think the people would be okay with waiting an entire... Only in South Africa can a police minister, literally the dude in charge of keeping the country safe, be accused of being a literal criminal, and the president goes, well, I have more important things to deal with, like the dialogue. I want to talk to some people. and then I'll deal with this. So basically, this is my third priority. And I kind of feel like the reason they're doing that, the reason this has been postponed, they were sort of hoping people would move on. They were sort of hoping people would move off the story. They were sort of thinking, if we give it enough time, people will just sort of forget. Maybe the national dialogue will keep everyone busy. And then everyone will talk about how amazing this new dialogue is. Because, guys, I don't know about you, but when I heard Mrs. or I don't know if it's Miss or Mrs. South Africa, when she said that it's just so nice to be heard, I felt a swell of pride within me. Like, oh shit, I was never more proud to be South African like in that moment. I almost threw up. Yes, I don't know what the hell Miss South Africa has to add to this debate. Yeah, 100% sarcasm rating. 100%. Who gives a shit what Miss South Africa has to say about anything? Like, you won a beauty pageant. You're pretty. Congratulations. That means nothing. Like that doesn't mean anything. You don't matter. And yet she's they're recording her sort of going on about how amazing this is because she's finally being heard. I'm like, what are you talking about? You had a whole pageant where you won? No one gives a shit. Go home. Like, this doesn't matter. So I feel like they were probably hoping that the national dialogue would be the talk of the town and people would move on. Because I think Mkhwanazi is in trouble. You have the DA that's now filed charges against Minister Mkhwanazi. Criminal charges. So this isn't something that the ANC can just make go away. Like, the ANC isn't in a position here to just say, well, we'll deal with this the same way we deal with every single cadre that gets corrupt. Basically, we don't deal with it. Because now the courts are involved. And I think the GNU is on the ropes as well. I had the pleasure of hosting a couple of Americans, and they were so blinded by their own media that they think Ramaphosa is better than Trump. Wait, what? Oh, man. Yeah. To be fair, though, most Americans think Trump is a bad president because most Americans think the mainstream media gives them accurate news. I feel like South Africans at least understand our news is not accurate whatsoever. So South Africans probably know this best. Ramaphosa was installed to collapse the republic. He is succeeding with this. Nate, why do you think that? So what would be your reasoning? Lucas, how you doing, sir? Because I've heard the theory floating around in my comment sections quite a bit. There seems to be a lot of people who think Ramaphosa's entire goal was to sink the republic. But to what end? What does Ramaphosa stand to gain from collapsing the republic? Oh, and by the way, guys, if I may just show you this, because it's quite important. If you're watching on YouTube, go to your chat window where the chat is there. Click that little drop down button and go from top chat, because usually it'll be on top chat. Click live chat. Top chat is YouTube sort of AI algorithm driven chat bullshit where you won't see every single message. You'll only see the messages that YouTube think is important, whereas live chat is all of the messages. So you guys will be able to talk to each other, talk to me. I'll be able to see what you guys write in real time. So yeah, you can always just do that. It'll help a lot. Is it perhaps marine warfare influencing our country? Edward, how do you mean? Johan, how you doing, bro? Then he can blame and do not need to take responsibility. Johan, but the thing is, okay, so I get that Ramaphosa and the ANC is always going to blame anything but themselves, right? Right now, apparently apartheid still works just fine. So I'm sure tonight we'll hear something about how Minister Mkhwanazi was so traumatized by his time fighting the apartheid government that he just couldn't help himself and needed to get in bed with a bunch of criminal gangs or some shit like that, right? That's just how it's going to be. Storm Chaser, how you doing, brother? But it is running thin, right? That particular thing isn't going to work for a long time anymore, because I feel like a lot of black people are also waking up to this now and realizing that, wait, this is not a good excuse anymore. That being said, though, that still doesn't answer why Ramaphosa, like, when people say Ramaphosa wants to destroy the republic, that's the whole reason he was there. I don't understand the reasoning, right? So yes, Ramaphosa, when he does destroy the republic, is going to blame everyone else for that failure. But why would he want to do it in the first place? That's what I don't get. Because surely there has to be a reason. Now, I think it's greed. I don't think it's that Ramaphosa wants to destroy the country. I think it's that Ramaphosa and his friends are busy getting very rich off of Iran, off of probably Saudi Arabia, probably China. They're making a ton of money. And as long as the money keeps rolling in, they really have no reason to fix the country. Because the country not being fixed gives them a sort of viable way of staying in power. Like, just vote for us, guys. We're going to fix this. We're going to get this done. Soon enough, we will make it happen. Janine, how you doing? Communist playbook delusion, breaking things down. Communism is definitely, but even with the communism thing, looking at the ANC, so they're definitely communists, right? Or at least there's one communist faction within the ANC. You have, well, I would describe the ANC probably as follows. I would say the ANC is a communist party for the most part, but various degrees of communism. So you have the full-blown communists that just want communism, so basically Soviet-style communism. Then you have the more pragmatic communists. They do want some version of communism, but probably almost like a Chinese state capitalism kind of thing. And then you have the RET guys, the ones that they want communism, but just to steal as much as possible. So I do agree that there is a Chinese or that there is a communist element within it. The thing is just, the ANC doesn't need to destroy South Africa in order to implement communism. How much support would the ANC have right now in order to bring communism to South Africa? Would they have the votes? The answer is yes. The ANC sits at 40, the FF sits at 10, and the MK sits at 20. That gives them 70% of the vote. Right? They could get communism. They could actually, they're a breath away from changing the constitution. A breath away. They basically, actually, if all of them vote together, they can change the constitution. Right? So the ANC hasn't even lost support. That's the thing that actually scares me the most. Like, everyone keeps thinking that, oh, we can just vote our way out of this. The ANC won about 70% of the vote in 1994. Just over 70% of the vote, right? Went to the ANC in 1994. If you include all of the offshoot ANC light parties like the EFF and the MK, the ANC still sits at 70% of the vote. They've not lost any support. So why have they not rung in communism yet? Oh, Rest, you don't have to remind me. I have not forgotten Pala Pala. In your case, I think whoever holds the most power in military will make it. Because our military is useless. The one thing we don't have to worry about in South Africa is a military coup. The military would have to be able to find the military bases before they can do a coup. They don't even know what the bases are, so we're good. in that sense, we have no problem. So yeah, unlike almost every other African nation where military coups is a very big reality, not so in South Africa. Like, thanks to the ANC, we have more generals than what we have actual soldiers. We good. Backlash from the rest of the world. That's why communism takes on so slow, I think. 40 years ago, Isak, I would have agreed with you. The modern day world, think about how many people throughout the world, think about how many politicians throughout the world are openly at least socialist. AOC and the sort of socialist wing of the Democratic Party, they would welcome South Africa going full-blown communist. You have Europe. Most of Europe is basically communist light at this point. So Europe wouldn't really care about South Africa going communist. China would obviously welcome it. China would not care at all. I don't think Russia gives two shits because, they're busy fighting wars and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. The only people that would actually care, I think, would be the right wing in Europe, which at this point seems to be not really that big of a faction, and then the right wing in America, right? They would care. So Donald Trump would probably punish South Africa harshly, but considering he's already punishing South Africa harshly, I don't know if South Africa needs to care about that, because we're already going to get punished. That's a matter of time. To be honest, the ANC were never meant to lead South Africa. They were a party made to destroy, and they are doing what they were meant to destroy. Destroy. It's just a shame a lot of people cannot see that. Snoochie, how you doing? So there's a famous quote. My dad told me this probably 2 decades ago now. I think it was just before I went to university. So basically 2 decades ago. My dad told me a people will only ever be free once they are liberated from their liberators. He read it in a book. I can't remember which book it was. And no country is that more true than South Africa. Andreas, how you doing? You sound South African, which is why I subscribed before you confirmed it. Andreas, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. A lot of people think I don't sound South African. And I get it. My English is weird. I get it, right? This is not an act. I'm not putting on an English accent. This is my accent. You can talk to people at my church. You can talk to people in my normal life. This is just my accent. It's broken. It doesn't make any sense. It's definitely not South African, but there's a lot of South African in the accent. And it used to be a hell of a lot worse when I was younger. I get you. It's still sort of touchy for Cyril to say tomorrow we are communists. It's a boil the frog process. Yeah, I get where you're going with that, Isak. I just feel like at this point, they have to realize that they're going to destroy this country long before they actually fix it, right? Candace, how you doing? Speaking of someone that is at my church, Candace is at my church. You can ask her. This is not a fake accent. This is just what I sound like. This is just my accent. General Mkhwanazi has been involved in 2 coups outside the country, one in Haiti, I stand corrected, and one in Africa, from info on his background in one of the latest Biz News videos. Wow. Do you think he would actually try and do it? Z-Vengeance, how you doing, brother? Dirty Dancing, ask what you can do for your country and not what your country can do for you. To be quite honest with you, I don't want to ask that question. I don't care what I can do for my country. I don't. I genuinely don't. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be a lot more patriotic and I should care about this country a lot more. I care about the people of this country because I think we have tremendous people, right? I care about my people. I care about the Afrikaner people. I care about English people. I care about black people. I care about colored people. I care about South Africans. But I don't care about this country. I don't care. I don't want to do anything for this country because it feels like whatever I do for this country will just help keep the ANC in power a little longer, which just helps postpone the inevitable destruction a little longer. And I don't know if I like that. I have no hope for the sad excuse of a president, but let's see. I am half South African, English, and Afrikaans, but people think I have a weird accent. They cannot place where I'm from because I don't sound like the average English or Afrikaans person in Pretoria. And there's, I get that. I get that. I think, so my accent's very specific. I grew up in an Afrikaans household, right? Both my parents are Afrikaans, or my mom was Afrikaans, my dad is Afrikaans. But at the age of 6, the neighbors that moved in next door, one of their son, who was basically my age, I think I was 1 year older than him, or he was 1 year older than me, but he was raw English, like couldn't speak a word of Afrikaans. His mum could understand Afrikaans, but she couldn't speak it. His dad could kind of speak, because his dad and my dad were actually good friends. So we started playing together, but we couldn't understand each other. Dudes, I just want you to know, they've just changed. This bloody government can't even stick to their... Guys, they cannot even stick to their own schedules. They are the ones that made this time. They're the ones that said 7 o'clock. No one forced them to say... I just want to be sure. Everyone should understand this. No one was telling Ramaphosa, you have to be here at 7 o'clock. He decided this on his own. I mean, they're the ones who moved it just now. Oh, wow, what a country we live in. But okay, back to the story. So, yeah, he was a Soti, Candace. But we wanted to play together. So what would happen is, when I couldn't explain to him what we needed to do, or he couldn't explain to me, would go to either his mom or my mom to try and figure out what to do. So I could speak fluent English by, let's say, age 7. I could speak English, and I never spoke English with an Afrikaans accent, because I learned English not from my parents, but from his parents. So my English was never Afrikaans. Then all throughout high school, I had a bunch of English friends. One of my best friends in high school was a girl from the English school in Polokwane. We spoke almost every single day, and she was English, so I would speak English all the time. Then I went to university. There is where my accent really got screwed, because I had 2 British friends from England, 2 American friends, a bunch of European friends, because I was playing World of Warcraft at the time, online video game, and we would play 12 to 16 hours a day. Yeah, I was at university. I was never going to class. I was just playing video games. And so we would just hang out on Discord. Well, at the time it was Mumble or Vent. I can't remember which one we used first. So that's where my accent got screwed, because I was just hearing constantly all of these accents, British and American and European English. So that's where my accent came from, and now this is what I have. So for those of you that were interested in my accent, that's the story. Back then, with that internet speed. So, Sally Lloyd, I was living in Pretoria. Me and my flatmate, his dad was also an avid World of Warcraft player. We had a 4 megabit per second up line and a 1 megabit per second downline copper ADSL. It was not fast, but it got the job kind of done. I was playing at about 700 ms at the time, but we could play. We could do it. It wasn't fun, but it was worth it. Rama was even late meeting Trump. You could see the look on Trump's face when he stood at the door. We live in an absolute banana republic. It wasn't a PvP god back then. I wasn't a PvP god even when we got full-blown internet speed. It does not help that my South African English mom was born in KZN, was raised on a farm in the Eastern Cape, studied in Bloemfontein, and now lives in Pretoria. Wow. Okay, so you were also all over the place. Another struggle of playing WoW without MS. I think every South African knows that struggle. Yep. Well, you basically learn how to do everything about 1 second early. No, Tekla, I'm not a huge fan of PvP. I was on 2 meg dial-up. For some reason, my ping was 19 ms back then. Well, Isaac, it would make sense because COD had South African servers. WoW doesn't have South African, they just have European ones. Dude, I don't know why my eye is irritated, but it is. So, how was your weekend, guys? Like, what did you guys do this weekend? Did anyone do anything fun? Considering we have some time to kill, because the president has just moved it another half an hour later, we may as well talk about anything other than politics. Or if you guys want to talk about politics, we can do that as well. I like talking about politics. Andreas, I don't play Fallout. I'm a huge RPG fan. Love RPGs. Hate Bethesda games. The only Bethesda games I actually enjoy are what's that game where you play an assassin? First person assassin, you have these powers, really cool story. What's it called now? Dishonored. That's the one. Yeah. The only Bethesda games that I enjoy is Dishonored. I don't like Skyrim. I don't like Morrowind. I don't like any of the games. Their way of RPGing is just that's never really worked for me. My weekend was bliss. Besides Ramaphosa, Firefly, what did you do? What made your weekend so amazing? What about Fallout 1 and 2? Other than I wasn't quite into games at that age. It's a bit before my time, so I never played those. My first ever game that I played was Diablo. I want to say Diablo 1 or Baldur's Gate 1 was the first games I ever played. It was one of those two. And then also played a bunch of demos, like Warcraft 1's demo on like one of those discs that you used to get in the NAG magazine. Do you guys remember the NAG magazine? I'm only at 7:30. Raymond, yeah, I have the timer there. He moved it on. He was supposed to be live in about 3 minutes, and then he postponed. Just suddenly they updated it. They were like, oh, never mind. The president's going to be running late. This is why, guys, in a just country, this man would be stoned. How can you do, man? Just think about this. The minister of police is accused of being a literal crime boss. The president decides he will only speak to the people a week later. We have some Europeans in chat. Take love, vengeance, Europeans and Americans. If this happened in your countries and your presidents decided they will only address the public a week later, there'd be riots. People would be losing their minds. Yet here in South Africa, not only is our president waiting an entire week before addressing this, the Minister of Police, still the Minister of Police, he's not been fired or suspended. And now's the president even going, half an hour late. We'll do it later. I don't feel like it. Grow file because this is politics. We're talking South African politics here. We can't be doing we can't be doing Twitch. How are you doing, Grofile? That's not in the UK. Other than I feel like even in the UK, people will be losing their minds. What happened to this week's Mythic banter? It was supposed to be my happy time after hearing the nonsense from Ramaphosa. So Razor, the big issue, Rurikon is moving. I don't know exactly where he's moving. I haven't had a chance to speak to him yet. But on Friday, his computer and everything was being packed up and he was moving to a new location. And so when he finally messaged me at like 2:00, he was like, I have a dinky setup here and we can maybe do like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but I can't do more. I was like, dude, it's fine. I'll just let people know there's not going to be an episode because I don't want to rush. I don't want to try and force it in. And then the setup is bad and the camera looks bad and everything. So I was like, we'll just do it next week. It's fine. But I do apologize. Ek speel tans Delta Force, Last Epoch and Dying Light 2. Sien uit na DL3. Storm Chaser, I am currently playing Palworld again. And I just started about I don't know how many hours ago, but I played a little bit of Rogue Trader as well. Want to check out the now new and improved Rogue Trader. So we'll see how that goes. Purring Lion. How you doing, bro? No one cared. Country burning down yet? Grofel, no, but we'll see after this. After tonight, the country may indeed burn to the ground. Who knows? We'll see. Looks like they're only going live at 7:30. Storm Chaser, yeah. We have another half an hour to kill. So if you guys want to grab some coffee, some tea, now would be the time to do it. We have time. In cross-platform games? Enige cross-platform games. I think Palworld is cross-platform, Isak. I don't really play a lot of multiplayer games. And even when I do, I rarely play multiplayer because I don't have time. So I basically squeeze my game time in when I can get it. For me, the issue with multiplayer is now there's people waiting for me to play. So they might want to play tonight, and I don't have time tonight. Or they want to play tomorrow night, I don't have time. Or maybe they don't want to play tomorrow night, and I do want to play tomorrow night. So I very rarely play multiplayer games. When I play, I just play my own. Games. Is the Discord active? The Dark Blacksmith? Yes, the Discord is pretty active. There's a bunch of political conversations happening over there, and I'm sure there's a lot of people a lot of right wingers who would love to have more people on the Discord to keep them company. Purring Line, what do you mean if the games think Jesus? It's the weekend. Many are too busy jolling to burn down or watch the president. This is why they choose a weekend night so they get less views. You think so? I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Jade, I think if you type !socials, it should pop up. Otherwise, it should be in the description. The Discord. Or an invite to the Discord. The Discord is mainly an old WoW Discord. So my community comes from the WoW days. But there's a growing political movement on that Discord where people are discussing politics and stuff. So yeah, you're more than welcome to join there. Paul, how you doing, bro? President Ramaphosa again shows disrespect for the public by delaying his speech. Once again, he is trying. Paul, the thing is, I think he knows it doesn't matter. At least from their perspective. They don't care. Right? Because from their perspective, the ANC genuinely seems to live in this world where they'll never lose an election. It cannot happen. From their perspective, what just happened this year, right? Them getting only 40% of the vote was a blip on the radar. All they need to do is pretend like they care. they're busy with the renewal process. I don't know if you guys saw that. Mr. Mbalula is talking about this a lot nowadays. The ANC renewal project, where apparently they're renewing the organization, but the organization is still just as corrupt as ever. Which is like, dude, what are you talking about? It's like you just peed in your bed, and all you're doing is you're just taking a new duvet and putting it over the old peed bed. And saying, well, that's not really renewal. Not as you and I would think of renewal. You're postponing the problem a little, but eventually that pee will seep through too. You should be taking that out. Let it dry in the sun, but not in this country. Here we just sort of go with it. My Twitch is called. Oh, what is my Twitch called? Based Stefan. Based Stefan. I can give you a link to it. I haven't streamed on Twitch in a while. I should actually get back to streaming on Twitch. I've just been so bloody busy. I'm not live on Twitch right now because now we're doing politics, South African politics, and Twitch is more just for video gaming. Just go live on Twitch, man, so I don't look dumb with the Sebi emote. My brother, Grofile. This is for South African politics. This is for South African politics. Twitch, that's for Twitch. Right? We do gaming on Twitch. We do South African politics on YouTube. I don't want to mix the two because for some reason it gives me anxiety. Don't ask me why. I can't explain it. But the last time we did a dual multi-stream thing, I ended up feeling like crap for 2 days afterwards. Just stressed for some reason. Like something's chasing me and I don't know why. And I just kept thinking, why the hell do I feel like this? So yeah, just not my cup of tea. Laureate, by the way, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that, sir. Why are you unsubscribing, Perling Line? We talk politics there all the time. Yeah, but not South African politics. That's for international politics and gaming politics. This is South African politics. Look at the screen, profile. What's on the screen? You see that man over there? That's my president. We'll be making fun of him later. It's the fear of becoming one of those political streamers that just post clips. Jed, I wouldn't even necessarily say I wouldn't even necessarily say it's that. It's more, I think it's because there's so many different elements to it, right? So a lot of the people that's here right now in chat, they're not here to talk about video games, right? I think most of the people in this chat right now couldn't care less about the left-wing infestation in video games. They couldn't care less about the next, game, Ghost of Yote being completely ruined by feminism, right? They just don't care. They're here for South African politics. That's all they care about. But then if I go on Twitch, I have a whole different community there that they care deeply about Ghost of Yote and the feminism that's destroying that game. So when I do deal streams, it's like the Twitch community wants to have their conversations. The YouTube community wants to have their conversations. And I'm stuck having to try and juggle both of these conversations at the same time. And I don't like that, right? So, yeah. National eyes on this shit show in South Africa won't hurt. The world needs to wake up to what's happening. Raytik, I wonder how many people in the world actually care. Like, I feel like most people have given up on South Africa at this point. Do you have a separate gaming channel? I do, Andreas. I do. It's called Akalon Gaming. It's a fairly new channel. I literally started it like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I do have one over there. Well, I feel so. I feel like it's a lot more comfortable just on the one channel. We gave you 5 billion. What happened to that? Profile, I don't know. But you didn't give us 5 million. Let's be super clear here. You did not give South Africa 5 billion. I told you when you Europeans made the deal with the ANC to give them 5 billion, I told you that the people will not see a cent of that. I wish the world would stop giving aid to South Africa. I wish the world would stop. Because Africa does not need aid from the world. What the countries of the world don't seem to understand is you're keeping corrupt governments in power. Because these governments are supposed to run out of money. They're supposed to destroy the economies of their country so that their people can rise up and overthrow them. But thanks to foreign aid, these governments continue to stay in power because they're able to use the aid to bribe their own people, to sort of circumvent the biggest amount of anger. I wish I could get Europe to stop giving aid to Africa. Cut Africa off. Let Africa sink or swim on its own. That's your president? Yeah. Looks like a smart man, doesn't he? Profile ad's gone now. Working on that. The right is gaining power. Rama is dumping us into an economic disaster of epic proportions. He's going to blame me out for Rubik. Oh, Dawn, you're probably not wrong. I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting. Hey, the president's here. I'm waiting to see if... How many of you think Ramaphosa is going to try and find a way to blame apartheid? To some extent. In one way or another, he's going to try and find a way to blame apartheid tonight. Like something about legacy or, painful legacy of apartheid. Some bullshit like that. Skyve, how you doing? Maybe that's what they want, so they keep giving aid. That's all I can think at the moment. Arrested in Europe on anti-money laundering and corruption charges? I don't think so, Philip. I didn't read anything about that, but then again, I haven't checked anything today. It's my Sunday. Normally, I wouldn't be streaming or really making videos on a Sunday, but Ramaphosa decided to do this on a Sunday, so here we are. Accountability is forethought in politics right now. True. My fellow South Africans, ons is in die... Smith, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. If he manages to blame apartheid, we will have to award him points for creativity. Dude, I feel like he will. I don't know why, but I have this feeling in me that he's going to find a way. The man is crafty. I have to give him that. I have heard them blame apartheid for the dams being too large. I don't know how many of you remember that. A few years ago, there were massive droughts here in South Africa, and the then Minister of Water and Sanitation said that the reason there are droughts is because the apartheid government built the dams too big. That's legit. That's a quote from the minister. So they have blamed apartheid for some very interesting things. It can happen. Kies wat om uit te lees, man. Isak, wat bedoel jy? That is not good. No, it is not good. Hit that button. Wouldn't bigger dams hold back more water so you could have that water in a drought? Grandfall, their argument was because the dams are too big, it takes too long to fill up. So that's the issue. And because the dams can't get full, there's not enough water. Because that's apparently how that works. There's only water if if it's full. Randomly came across your stream. You stay in America. Just curious, as I hear a mix of American and Mkhwanazi. Nanks, how you doing? I stay in Cape Town. My accent is a mess, but I am Cape Townian. Well, I'm not Cape Townian, although I might be Cape Townian. I've been living here for 3 years now, but I'm originally from the north, from Polokwane or Pietersburg, whichever one. works. So whichever one you know, dependent on how old you are. If you were born after the 90s, you'll probably only know it as Polokwane if you know it at all. If you were born prior to the 90s, you might remember Pietersburg. Nou en dan sê mense goed wat beter is om nie uit te lees nie en jy Isaac, yes. So I've been streaming for a long time. I've been streaming for probably 4 or 5 years. I've gotten pretty good at screening messages before I read them. Although sometimes I do get caught. There has been times where someone will write a message, and as I'm busy reading the message, I realize, wait, I can't read this. This is nuts. The lady is calling so sadly. I won't be around to catch the president. Have a good stream, bro, and hope to see you again. Z Vengeance, take care of yourself. Thanks so much for hanging out, man. Really appreciate it. Zombash, how you doing, bro? Ramaphosa is just as corrupt. Renee, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, boys, what's Ramaphosa saying? Do you think the Minister of Police is getting fired tonight? Strange World Echo. When I got to know your channel, Warlock stuff on WoW, I was living in Cape Town. Now I'm back in Pretoria. Really? Yeah. When you were watching my Warlock stuff on World of Warcraft, I was still living in Pretoria. Or Polokwane, one of the two. Because I moved, in my second year of doing YouTube, I moved from Polokwane to Pretoria. I lived in Pretoria for 3 years, and then I moved here to Cape Town. Very shallow, so the water condensation is very high. If only the president had a brain to divert water and make the dams deeper, but what do I know? Static Shadow, how you doing, brother? Mkhwanazi is going on special leave. He's not done destroying evidence. My prediction is that the president is going to try everything in his power to make it seem like he's doing something. Not that he will actually do something, but to make it seem like he will. I think what the DA has done, which I actually sort of have to applaud, although I don't like the DA very much, I do have to applaud this sort of part of theirs, or this stunt of theirs, I should say, and that is that they actually took the minister, like they made an official criminal complaint against the minister. This puts Ramaphosa in a very difficult position. Because ordinarily, so remove the DA laying criminal charges against Minister Mkhwanazi, and what Ramaphosa would have done is he would have said, "We're opening a special commission to look into these allegations. We're taking this very seriously. Blah 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 blah. You all know what it is." And eventually, they'll just wait for the people of South Africa to sort of forget, and then they'll just do nothing. Or they'll announce that he was found innocent of all charges. But now there's actual criminal charges against the minister. So the ANC can't handle this internally. Right? They can't tell the courts, listen here, we have our own internal matters and how we deal with things. Because the courts are involved now. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what Ramaphosa is going to be doing tonight. Because this is not going to be easy for him. Very fast to fire DA members, but we'll try and cover his own Pala members. Well, yeah, of course. Another commission of inquiry incoming, and nothing will happen. Like I said, the current the criminal procedures against the minister makes that more difficult. Not impossible, but more difficult. What other South African YouTubers do you watch, political or gaming or anything else? Andreas, I watch quite a few, although I will say not so much South African YouTubers per se, but Roman Kabanak, really big fan of his. I watch Morning Shot, huge fan of State of the Nation, huge fan of Biz News. It's not called, is it called Biz News? No, I think it's Business something. But I'm a huge fan of Biz News as well. trying to think if there's anyone else I listen to. I do actually listen to him. Not as often, but every once in a while, Ronaldo goes. Like every once in a while, a video of his will pop up, and I'll find it interesting, so I'll watch. Mainly not his news coverage, because I'll usually cover those as well, but definitely his like opinion pieces I'll watch. They turn on him. If he fails to address it, we may wake more people up. You see, but that's where the thing is, there's only one thing historically that has woken people up. Yeah, Colonel Wyatt I do listen to, but he's not South African, so I don't include him when you asked about South African YouTubers. But I do listen to Colonel Wyatt. In terms of broader, I listen to a lot of people. Trigonometry, Charlie Kirk, even Dave Rubin to some extent, although I'm starting to like him less and less. There's quite a few podcasts and stuff that I love listening to. Then there's one more. His name escapes me. I'm not subscribed to his channel. He's fairly new. It's a black guy, young guy, probably in his late 20s, early 30s. Does a lot of interviews with people, not interviews, podcasts. SM something. I like listening to his stuff as well. I don't agree with him economically. Like economically, we have differing opinions. He seems to be much more socialist friendly, but I definitely like some of his political views. I do think he's quite interesting on that. He starts something with like light the fire. All of his videos starts with light the fire, welcome to, and then he starts it. But I can't remember his name now. I like Morning Shot too. I also like the Sona Sambit for politics. She is about my age. Dr. Uberbabe. She does gaming too. Dr. Uberbabe. I have no idea who that is. Kelly M says hot. V's Kelly M. I have no idea who that is either. I guess we're still waiting for the president. Man, like, does this guy know he's late? Our president. Wait, what? They've actually... No way, bro. SABC actually disabled the dislike button? Are you for real? So you can like, but you can't dislike it. Wait, why would it say disabled by owner? I can dislike it. Maybe it doesn't count. I hate this, that they just turn off certain functionality because they don't want people to say stuff. When has he ever been on time? Well, we're still waiting for him to show up and actually be the president. So, any day now, I guess. Maybe tonight's the night where he actually becomes the president of South Africa, because he's sort of just been occupying the seat for a few years now. Be careful, the ANC don't silence you. Pixel Glaive, I mean, if they want to silence me, they can silence me. I don't care. I am not afraid of this government or any government for that matter. I say what I think needs to be said. He was late for his own birth. Probably shitting the rainbow flag right now. Probably. It means you cannot see it, but still dislike. Now you cannot see the like, as the dislike counter now needs a plugin. All right. Okay. So you can't... Well, actually, no. Normally you can dislike, you just can't see the numbers. Here, I do think it's completely turned off. Just because I have the app, I have everything, it's not showing up. I think they've turned it off. They don't want people to tell them how angry they are, I'm guessing. That would be my thinking. The president doesn't want to speak, guys, when he knows that we're angry at him. Like, you shouldn't say nasty things about the president. It will hurt his feelings, and then he's not going to do it again. Dude, there's so many things about this presidency that just confuses me. Do you know that Ramaphosa has never done a Q&A with the press? I just thought about this yesterday. In the entire time that he's been president, he's never done an interview with our media, nor has he ever sat in a Q&A with our media. He does his speeches, and then he just leaves. That's it. Varnes, you're not wrong. And you're not alone. I think, can I get, by a show of hands, how many of you are sick and tired of Mr. Ramaphosa? Cyril is waiting for ESCOM to buy them out. Peter, I was literally thinking about this yesterday. As I was sitting here getting ready for this, I thought to myself, dude, you know what would be funny as shit? Is as he starts his whole, my fellow South Africans, just darkness. The whole country just goes dark. Oops, load shedding. that would be peak. Like, I mean, I'd be a little peeved, but I would also be like, well played, sir. Like, that is thinking on your feet, dealing with a hard situation, using all of the tools in your toolkit. You got yourself out of it. Well done. Of course, my power won't go out. I have an actual battery and everything, so I'm fine. But, their power will be out, so we won't be able to see it. Dislike all of their content only because they want to change TV licenses and have to... Dude, Static. I don't own a TV, right? I haven't owned a TV in probably 20 years. Because I have a PC. So if I want to watch something, I'll watch it on my PC. And the other day, I'm getting these spam calls, but like this one number is persistent as hell. Normally, you just get a lot of spam calls, but this one number just continuously calls. And eventually, I'm like, I answer thinking this is going to be some robot nonsense. And it's a debt collection agency. And they're like, the whole speech of, you need to be aware that this call is being recorded for training and wada purposes. And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? I'm like, sir, you owe, she said something, 2,000 something rand. I'm like, who? And she's like, the TV licenses, SABC. Like, excuse me? It's like, yes, you owe them 2,500, I think. I'm like, dude, I don't have a TV. What the hell are you talking about? Turns out, when I was 18 years old, I bought a flat screen TV. I was 18, maybe 19. I bought a flat screen TV. That TV, I only have for like a year before I got rid of it. And that TV license has just been going on for like 20 years to where I now owe 2,500 rand on that bill. And I was just like, what? Like, how is this even? And there's no way to talk your way out of it. Like, you can't say to them, no, but I don't own the TV. I already sold the TV. They're just like, no, you have to pay the money. And then you can make a complaint if you feel like it was unfair. Okay. Thank you very much, Peter. I really appreciate that, sir. Suspension with pay, inquiry commission at millions cost, then talk about breaks. Probably. I'm in the same boat. I haven't had a TV for 13 years, and I asked them to cancel the TV license, but they didn't. This country, man. This country. Sick and tired, and I have some choice words I cannot say. What do you think about Western Cape secession? Andreas, I'm not necessarily a fan of the secession nonsense because I think in theory, I like it because I'm not actually a fan of national government. I don't believe that South Africa can or should have a national government, but the political system that I would run on would be one where effectively every province is its own state, right? So very much a state system like the US, with the national government that basically does nothing. uh, or less than nothing. That would be my perfect system. But until you can have the whole country on that system, I don't think Western Cape secession would ever make sense. I don't think it can work, right? The problem with Western Cape secession is the Western Cape doesn't have the infrastructure required to be its own country. And I'm not talking about roads, right? I'm talking about financial infrastructure, tax infrastructure, legal infrastructure. There's just no way. So I'm not as fond of it. I like the concept, and I definitely think it's worth exploring. But yeah, I wouldn't call myself a Cape secessionist. I think the Western Cape has to be part of South Africa so that we can fix uh the country as a country. But I don't think the current system, the one where the national government runs the country, works. It doesn't. South Africa isn't a country that can be run by a national government. We have far too many cultures, and most of those cultures don't like any of the other cultures and also want to be ruled differently. The idea that you're going to have one government in Pretoria make rules for the whole of the nation in South Africa is stupid. It's like peak retardation. We should have a different system. This one's not working. Yep, as soon as you pay for a TV license, the meter keeps on running until you are declared deceased. Holy crap, Christy. That is really depressing. We all know what's coming. Apartheid is to blame. BE is justified. Dude, this guy is never going to show up. And Jay, I absolutely agree with you. But I actually think maybe he died. What time is it now? He's still not here. We do need to federalize, Dawn. Absolutely agree with you. To its own country, we would need Limpopo for the farms and national park. Andreas, the thing is, every province in South Africa needs the other provinces. No province can really call itself sustainable, not on its own. But also, I think having a national government make all of the rules, because I can tell you as someone that has now had the privilege of living in Limpopo, living in Gauteng, and now living in the Western Cape. Life in the Western Cape, dude, the culture in the Western Cape is so very different to the culture, at least in Pretoria and in Polokwane. It is not even, cannot compare it. The idea that a government in Pretoria can rule the people of Cape Town, it's laughable because they're not the same. They're not the same. I can tell you as a Limpopo Polokwane boykie, it took me a while to get ready, sort of get used to the Cape Townian culture, and I love the people here. I have so many amazing friends. I have a beautiful church with amazing friends at church. So I love this. I love this province, and I will never leave this province. But there are some things that they do, which, as a northern boykie, makes my blood boil. There are just some things that the Cape Townians do, like when you're phoning a plumber at 4:00 in the afternoon, and they say, it's not going to be possible for us right now. We might be there tomorrow, maybe the day after. And like, dude, if this was Pretoria, this guy would be here today. Adazar, how you doing? Poovy, how you doing? Where you came from? So where do you think that is, Poovy? Just as an interesting conversation start here. Where do you think that is? When you say go back to wherever you came from, where do you think I should go? You're right, I don't hate my culture. Clean, respectful, hardworking, and educated. Grant, you shouldn't hate your culture. We are looking for new states, just an option. The new American state of the Western Cape. Grant Fall, you know what? Hey, if America needs a 52nd or a 53rd state, South Africa could be that. We could be a state, We don't have a military. They'll put up no fight. At least not the military. The people might give you a bit of grief, but you know, just arrive on the beach, plant your flag, and just go, well, you guys are now the 53rd state of America. A lot of people might actually cheer for that, you know. The SBC was sponsored by many establishments and shops like Spar, Pick and Pay, Tafelberg Meubiliers, etc. They had a monthly draw of rewarding people that pay their TV license. They stole all of it. Of course they did. Ghost, how you doing, brother? He's like, yeah, to be fair, I think there's a lot of people in this country that don't know the history of their own people. And I wish, my greatest wish for this country would be that people can finally move past race. Nothing irritates me more than talking about the problems of this country and someone going, wow, it's just all the white people, or it's just all the blacks, and it's... Can we come up with a solution that doesn't involve race? How about we start with just fixing shit? And I get there's frustrations. I'm not saying don't be frustrated. It's just, it's not helpful. It's not helpful. You're never going to get rid of the white people in South Africa. You're never going to get rid of the black people in South Africa. The only way, and I feel in this instance, the Western Cape may actually be an example for the rest of the country. Race relation. How many people here are from the Western Cape? Let me just quickly hear. Do we have some Western Capers, Cape Townians in chat? Send a marine expedition to Lake Claim. Those boys are always up for a little adventure. Send them. Western Cape here. Ashley, how you doing? Garden Route. Sorry. Okay, so people in the Western Cape will know what I mean. Although if you live here,
South Africans,
here we go.
good evening to you all.
Charlotte, how you doing?
Tonight, I address you on a matter that concerns the security of our country,
Yeah.
the integrity of our law enforcement agencies, and the safety of our people. Last Sunday, the 6th of July, 2025, whilst I was in Brazil at the BRICS Summit,
Yeah.
Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner of the South African Police, held a media briefing in which he made public serious allegations about the existence and operation.
Dude, he always looks like he wants to fall asleep. Like, holy crap.
That has allegedly infiltrated law enforcement and intelligence structures in our country. Lieutenant Mkhwanazi alleged that the Minister of Police allegedly interfered with sensitive police investigations and colluded with business people, including a murder accused, to disband the political killings task team based in KwaZulu-Natal. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi also said that a police investigation by the task team that was operating in Gauteng unmasked a syndicate controlled by a drug cartel, which involves politicians, law enforcement officials from the South African Police Service, Metro Police, Correctional Services, prosecutors, and the judiciary, as well as business people.
Why do you sound unsure?
The allegations made in this media briefing raise serious concern around our Constitution, the rule of law, and national security. These allegations, if proven true, threaten to undermine the confidence of South Africans in the ability of the South African Police Service to protect them and to effectively fight crime and corruption. South Africans are concerned about corruption and the rise of criminality in our country, which manifests itself in the killing of innocent people, gender-based violence, gang violence, kidnappings, construction mafia criminality, and in many other ways.
And the
As we
ANC.
intensify the fight against crime, it is vital that we safeguard the integrity and credibility of the police and other law enforcement agencies.
Resign.
These allegations, therefore, call for an urgent and comprehensive investigation.
Resignation.
To address these allegations and the implications of these allegations, I'm establishing a judicial commission of inquiry that will
What
be
do we
chaired
say?
by Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyisile Nhlanhla. Justice Madlanga will be assisted by Advocate Sesi Baloyi, Senior Counsel, and Advocate Sandy
Here we go, boys.
Senior Counsel. The Commission will investigate allegations relating to the infiltration of law enforcement, intelligence, and associated institutions within the criminal justice system by criminal syndicates. Among the allegations that the Commission may investigate are the facilitation of organized crime, suppression or manipulation of investigations, inducement into criminal actions by law enforcement leadership, commission of any other criminal offenses, and intimidation, victimization or targeted removal of whistleblowers or officials that are resisting criminal influence. The Commission will investigate the role of current or former senior officials in certain institutions who may have aided or abetted the alleged criminal activity, or failed to act on credible intelligence or internal warnings, or benefited financially or politically from a syndicate's operations. These institutions are the South African Police Service, the National Prosecuting Authority.
Why does he sound unsure of what he's saying in his own speech?
Magistracy, and the Metropolitan Police Departments of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and Tshwane. The Commission will also investigate whether any members of the National Executive responsible for the criminal justice system were complicit, aided and abetted, or participated in the acts mentioned above. The Commission will be asked to report on the effectiveness or failures of oversight mechanisms and the adequacy of current legislation, policies, and institutional arrangements in preventing such infiltration. It will make findings and recommendations for criminal prosecutions, disciplinary actions, and institutional reform. Once established, the Commission shall consider prima facie evidence relating to the involvement of individuals who are currently employed within law enforcement or intelligence agencies.
Prima facie,
Where
but never mind.
appropriate, the Commission must make recommendations on the employment status.
Dude, this is Zondo. Sorry for pausing. We'll talk about all of this after. Zondo Commission 2.0. This commission doesn't even have the power to arrest anyone. It literally only has the power to make recommendations for what it thinks might happen. The Zondo Commission recommended that Zuma be locked up, that he be actually persecuted, and nothing happened. This is,
Of such officials currently employed, including whether they should be suspended pending the outcome of further investigations. The Commission will have the power to refer matters for immediate investigation and urgent decisions on prosecution, taking into account the nature of the allegations and the evidence the Commission will uncover. It is critical that these matters be attended to with the necessary urgency and thoroughness. The Commission is expected to complete its work and submit a final report to the President. Interim reports will be expected after 3 months and 6 months, respectively. The final report of the Commission will be sent to the Speaker of the National Assembly and to the Chief Justice. Acting Deputy Chief Justice Nhlanhla is retiring from the Constitutional Court at the end of July 2025 after years of distinguished service, and will therefore be able to give his full attention and time to the work of this Commission. In order for the Commission to execute its functions effectively, I have decided to put the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mkhunu, on leave of absence with immediate effect.
With pay or without pay?
The Minister has undertaken to give his full cooperation to the Commission to enable it to work properly. I have decided to appoint Professor Firoz Kachalia as Acting Minister of Police. Professor Kachalia is currently a Professor of Law at the University of the Witwatersrand and is the Chairperson of the National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council.
Who's the Deputy President? Like, why do you have a Deputy President when
He previously served as an MEC of Community Safety in Gauteng. I'm appointing Professor Kachalia in terms of Section 91(3) subsection C of the Constitution, which empowers the Constitution to select no more than 2 ministers from outside the National Assembly. Professor Kachalia will be retiring from his current position at the University of Witwatersrand at the end of July this
so the
year.
taxpayers can pay for him instead?
I will, in the interim, appoint an acting minister from within cabinet until Professor Kachalia takes up his post at the beginning of August. The interregnum, therefore, will be just a little over 2 weeks. This commission is being established against the backdrop of significant progress that has been made in rebuilding and strengthening our country's law enforcement agencies and security services. In recent years, the South African Police Service, the Special Investigating Unit, the SIU, and the Asset Forfeiture Unit, and other bodies have been making great progress and inroads in the fight against organized crime and corruption.
Dude, how can you guys have a straight face with us?
It's essential that we maintain this momentum and that we intensify the work that is currently underway. We will ensure that the South African Police Service and other law enforcement agencies continue to function without hindrance as the Commission undertakes its work. I call on all members of our law enforcement agencies, as well as security services, to remain steadfast in upholding the rule of law of our country and adhering to their code of conduct. I therefore call on all South Africans to support the Commission in the work that it is going to do.
Why?
Appropriate, and to provide any information or assistance the Commission may require. In establishing this Commission of Inquiry, we are affirming our commitment to the rule of law, to transparency, and to accountability. And we are also enhancing the work that is underway to build a South Africa in which all our people are safe and secure. I thank you.
You are a moron. I don't know. Like, guys, someone needs to explain this to me. So am I correct in saying that pretty much all of us expected literally this? A commission will be established. Now, my question is, how long do you imagine the people of South Africa are going to take before they rise up? Because this is getting ridiculous now. So this commission that's being established has no authority to make any arrests. It is effectively just the Zondo Commission. That's it, right? Zondo Commission gave its report, found a lot of people guilty. Nothing ever came of it. This is literally just the ANC government once again pretending like it's doing something. And even though I was absolutely prepared for it, I'm still angry. Like, even though I knew this is literally what was going to happen, it still drives me up the wall. To function, they actually have to be functional to be able to continue to function. They won't rise up for fear of losing SASSA grants. He is a spineless coward, saying a lot but doing nothing. This entire, here's the thing. You guys know how sometimes you have a meeting that could have been an email? Everything Ramaphosa said here could have been a tweet. 95% of this entire speech was him just recapping the bullshit all of us already knew. Like, we were aware of why this speech was. He sounded a bit confused as to why he was on the television tonight. But we all knew exactly why we were there. It was like 5 seconds of it was just him going, we're going to do a commission now. So that's all he had to say. Well, just send out a tweet, go, yeah, guys, we're setting up another commission. There you go. Of him was trying to not fall asleep while reading a teleprompter. People are not going to accept this. I have a feeling I'll keep an eye out tonight on X. I'll let you guys know tomorrow what I see. But I do have a feeling that this might just push people over the edge. There's been a particular amount of anger in the last week, I would say. People are fed up. And I have a feeling that this is not going to fly. Why you guys are so angry? At least the commissioner didn't travel abroad without permission. JDR, you are correct on that, right? Like, when I heard that Andrew Whitfield had left the country without permission of the president, I was ready to burn this bitch down. But then Ramaphosa fired him, and I was like, good, justice. So, Mr. Mkhwanazi's crimes isn't quite that severe, but I still feel like at least, suspension without pay for being, in bed with crime syndicates. Probably not the end of the world, right? Just to Zondo 2.0 is literally spot on. This is what we have now, right? This is just Zondo 2.0. Domago, how you doing, bro? I get you. I made sure he cooks good on media. Was talking cock to us. Oh, man. How did we get here, boys? How did we as South Africans get here? Anyways, before Ramaphosa interrupted us so incredibly well, let me just finish my thought and then we can get back to whatever the hell this was that we just watched. But one of the things that I've picked up, and a lot of you that is in Cape Town will probably be able to say the same thing. Over the last 3 years, one of the things that stood out about the Western Cape that isn't true, at least when I was in the North, race relations in the Western Cape are a hell of a lot better compared to the rest of the country. Like, there doesn't appear to be the same level of sort of friction among the different races. And culturally, the gap is also a lot smaller. Like, you'll meet black people here, colored people here, and the cultures are so similar that people just sort of get along. There's just a lot, people get along a lot better here than what you sort of get in the North, at least where I was born and where I was brought up. And I think that is something that the Western Cape can probably teach the rest of the country. is how to do that. And how did they do it? By not really focusing on it, by just allowing people to exist. And slowly but surely, people just got used to each other. There's a beach, good roads off and right into Cape Town. Time to step down. He's not going to step down. He will just never step down. Pretoria, at least in my 23 years of living. Another Zondo farce. True. National shutdown. Keenan, so as a YouTuber, there are some things that I cannot say. So, for example, as a YouTuber, I cannot talk about taxes and shutdowns and that sort of stuff, because that would be illegal and I would be arrested, right? But I do think that at some point, the people of this country is going to reach a point where they've had enough. And we need to reach that point soon. Because the way the ANC is going on, I do not see. I'm already at a point where I don't necessarily think this country can be saved. Like when I think about how the layers of corruption within this country, like how corrupt this country actually is, and I try to logically think, okay, let's imagine the DA wins the next election. How do you fix a country that is rotten at every single level? Like we're talking 90% of the police are ANC cadres, most likely super corrupt. We're talking 90 to 95% of all of the government employees, super corrupt. We're talking about 90% of the entire working population of this country being controlled by unions that are loyal to the ANC. How do you fix that? Just think logically. So the ANC loses, the DA gets into power, and the DA tries to fix the government. They can't fire any of the government employees, even though we have way too many millions of people working for the government. They can't fire any of them because the unions will bring this country to a standstill. They can't fix the police because the police unions will bring this country to a standstill. They can't fix the military because ding, 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 they'll bring this country to a standstill. There's nothing you can fix. So I'm not sure how you fix South Africa. It feels like the ANC have nestled themselves so deeply into this country that I'm not sure how anyone fixes this. Salvador to run rampant, quick fix. JDR, in that sense, I do agree with Gayton McKenzie. I think South Africa needs a benevolent dictator. Here's the problem. Dictators are never benevolent because benevolent people doesn't want to become dictators. So you're sort of stuck between the thing South Africa desperately needs is the one thing that doesn't exist. But I do think South Africa does need a dictator because that's the only way you're getting it done. You're not getting it done democratically. It won't work. Civil War, like when the kings were brought down from their throne. Static, no, I'm just talking about literally people voting for the DA. The ANC has so much social power because of the unions and how the unions sort of control this country that I'm not entirely sure you can fix it. No, Civil War would be a whole different story, right? The death sentence, yeah, probably, Kevin. But then Adrian, waarvoor verlies skaam? As a power corrupts even the best people. Relax, you're not wrong. Can you disband or remove unions? Christo, you can, but you're going to have to be ready for war. So the way I would do it, if I were to get into power, is I would first focus on the police and fix the police. Get the police strong, fix their training, well-equipped, military-style policing, and then you go after the unions. Because you're effectively going to have to go to war with the unions of this country. because most of the unions like COSATU, NUMSA, those guys, they're military organizations, right? So you're gonna have to fight them. What's going to happen now? Memes, I have such good news for all of you. If you missed the president's speech, you guys don't have to worry anymore. Ramaphosa is on it, like white on rice, actually. So, thanks to allegations of immense corruption, we are getting, drumroll please, another commission. There you go. Yay. I'm sure this is the commission that will fix everything. They'll be investigating stuff, and they'll be able to ask some questions, and then they can tell the president what they think should happen. Will that solve anything? Well, it didn't the last time, but maybe this time. The last commission we had, the Zondo Commission, cost the country a lot of money, and no one was arrested as a result of the commission. This time, it will probably cost the government a lot of money. Well, I say the government, I mean the people. And probably nothing will happen. Never seen a person talk so much without saying anything. It is Ramaphosa's strong suit. It's a skill. The man is one of the few people I know that can say a lot of words and sound unsure about all of them. It genuinely sounded like he wasn't entirely sure what he's doing there. Every country has corruption. SA just doesn't bother covering it up. So the problem with corruption is, and you are correct, right? Every single country on earth is corrupt. The problem is, because government tends to be the most powerful organization in every country, and corrupt people or psychopaths love power, they're going to be drawn towards the power structure, right? Which is the government. This is why government tends to be evil, and why the founding fathers of America built the entire system to sort of slow down the government. That's why the American government is one of the most inefficient governments in the world. It was literally designed that way. But okay, so because government is always going to be corrupt, you want to limit government's power as much as possible, right? At least wherever you can, I guess you'd say. The issue in South Africa is back in 1990, I believe it was 1996, or it may have been 1997, Winnie Mandela was found guilty of corruption. She had given, I don't know how many millions to a friend of hers that she wasn't supposed to give him. Government money, taxpayer money. And nothing happened to her. Mandela swept the whole thing under the rug. Then you get to Thabo Mbeki, and under Thabo Mbeki, corruption is picking up, but still not too bad, right? There's sort of, I would say, Mandela and Thabo Mbeki's sort of tenure as presidents was normal levels of corruption, like what every country has. The issue was that they never punished this corruption. There was always this sort of mindset of the Cadres need to eat. And so the corruption was allowed to go. Where we are now, the corruption is so rampant that it's not even a case of trying to cover it up, because the corruption is no longer just sort of skimming off the top. It's skimming the whole bloody thing. Right? In most countries, corruption is usually just skimming off the top. Sort of everything gets done, and then off the top, they'll take a little bit here and there. In South Africa, it's like they just take everything. And that's because they've just allowed it to go on for so long that there really is no way to stop it. Because think about this. Probably every single minister serving on the cabinet is guilty of some kind of corruption. Big, small, doesn't matter, but he's guilty of some kind of corruption. Every single one of those ministers knows where the bodies are buried for all of the other ministers. So you can't fire anyone. right? Ramaphosa cannot fire Minister Mkhwana. Because if he fires Minister Mkhwana, Minister Mkhwana knows exactly where Ramaphosa's bodies are buried. That's why I asked, is Minister Mkhwana being put on paid leave or unpaid leave? And I guarantee you it's going to be paid leave. Mr. Mkhwana is effectively getting a holiday now at the taxpayer's expense. This after literally being a criminal. You can't fix it, because if you were to turn against the corrupt within your own party, the corrupt would kill you, right? The corrupt will take you down with him. We are doomed, done, we have finished. Our country is in the hands of corrupt leaders. Do me, you're not wrong. But for some reason, and this might be a nice sort of message to take along with you. If anything good comes out of this stream tonight, it's this. After 30 years of growing corruption, and really for the last 2 decades, a government that has tried its best to destroy this nation, we're still standing. Like, we're bruised, we're battered, we're not walking straight anymore. You know, we're sort of hobbling along, but we're still standing. Like, the people of this country still finds a way to just pull through every single time. That is something to be proud of, I think. The taxi mafia said that they wanted a positive reaction from Squirrel, otherwise they're going to act. So I believe that there's still poo coming. And for once, I'm on the side of the taxi mafias. Dude, the taxi mafias are scary as shit. Like, if the taxi mafias start going at this, although they're so corrupt that I'm not even sure if let's see what the comments have to say. If some of these comments are even showable here. Statement by the president on the establishment of commission. What's the use of these addresses if he doesn't take questions from the media? Judicial Commission inquiry, putting Mkhwana on special leave. Firoz Kachalia as police minister, red flag. The hell is this guy talking about? So he thinks the Judicial Commission is good. Putting Mkhwana on special leave, yeah, that's great. But this is the only red flag for this guy? My dude. Seriously? That's your only red flag? All right, I wish I was that optimistic. We will meet in the streets. I bet after this commission we will head for a national dialogue on police matters. Afrikaner self-determination is the only way. Shongololo, I don't know about that though. It's a waste of taxpayer money. Oh yeah, like, which one? The dialogue, the commission, the first commission. Like, dude, this government just loves wasting a bunch of bloody money. Criminals cannot investigate criminals. Well, they're gonna. Teacher Lulu, how are you doing? A bit after this commission, we will hear whom can us already have evidence. Commission. How many people were prosecuted from the Zondo Commission that cost millions? Will Mr. Mkhwana be receiving his salary? Good question. Another useless and wasteful commission of inquiry. South Africa deserves a bold and decisive leader. You guys are talking BS, and what did the previous commission achieve? So people are not too happy with the commission. The thing is, I don't see the people of South Africa rising up. There are very few things that would make people rise up. One of the only things that can actually make people rise up is hunger. Outside of hunger and starvation, very few things actually mobilizes a population. The commission budget will pay for the ANC campaign next year, and the budget for the national dialogue, of course. Oh, yeah. Well, I think Iran will also help with that, because Iran is also funding the ANC, so never forget. The middle class just all stop paying taxes in RSA. Andreas, it would be a nightmare. Both the judge and the lecturer both have ties to Sir Ramaphosa. Rihanna, I haven't even looked into it yet. I'll do some research tomorrow before I make my video on this. We could probably actually do it live. Who is this judge? What ties do they have to Cyril Ramaphosa? I don't see anything. Aside from food, carrying off utilities like electricity. So Ghost, as long as people can eat, it's very rare that a population with full stomachs start a revolution. Like very rare. Almost every single revolution starts at starvation. So the second people miss like 2 or 3 meals, that's where revolutions start. So even without electricity, people will just sort of go on. They'll just sort of figure it out, right? It's usually starvation that's the big one. Now, of course, if you look like me, you have some play on that. Like I will last much longer in a famine than a lot of other people in South Africa. So I'll probably join the revolution like a couple of months later. But I'll still eventually have to join too. The farms, then people will starve. They're probably going to try. Good question. Who the hell is this judge? That's what I'm asking right now. Not fit for office. He turned out a country as his private business. You're not wrong, sir. Who is the judge? Who is the judge? You suck, Google AI. Why aren't you giving me proper answers? Where's the judge? Cyril Ramaphosa. Just appointed to lead the commission. Don't do this nonsense with me right now. I want to see if it. Do you think Grok will know? Don't you? What are you talking about? Grok doesn't know Americana, Pala Pala. You all are not angry enough. Teacher, well, what exactly do you want people to do, teacher? That's the big question. What do you expect people to do? You see, the thing is, revolutions require people to be at the end of their rope. As long as people have lives, as long as people have jobs, as long as people can wake up and eat, they're not going to start a revolution. Right? Because it's not fun, right? Like revolutions aren't fun. No one wants a revolution. No one wants to go to war. So things have to get really bad before people will rise up and start revolting. It will probably happen. Don't get me wrong. It will most likely happen. Monica, I definitely agree with you. Then Mkhwanazi took a golden handshake for the safety sake of him and his family. Must be a hell of a golden handshake. I mean, people wanted him as the police minister. He had masses of people. So as far as I know, he has not been saying anything since the speech that he made. So I don't know if there's been any sort of handshake deals or anything like that with Mr. Mkhwanazi. Your first day in office of president? Christo, are you asking me what I would do on my first day in office? Oh, you wouldn't like me. Trust me, none of you would vote for me as president. None of you would vote So first things first, I don't believe in democracy. I think democracy is a joke. Um, I don't necessarily mind the fact that people vote, but I don't think the current system works at all because I don't think the current system fixes anything. I don't think it allows for the fixing of anything. I think for the most part, it incentivizes short term thinking rather than long term planning. So I would immediately declare South Africa a democratic monarchy, let's call it that. Basically, you vote for a president, and that president becomes the president for life. There are no more elections, none of that shit. If you are unhappy with the president, there is a special mechanism through which you can force a vote. If you can get 5 million signatures on uh, what is it called? Oh, come on. Like a special tally. There's a word for it, but I can't remember what it's called now. Petition. If you can get 5 million votes on a petition, you can get Congress and the Senate or Parliament in this case to discuss the president being a new election being held. But effectively, as long as the president is doing his job and the country is doing better, people don't get new elections. The president just continues being the president. The president also doesn't have a lot of power, right? So the president, most of the power belongs to towns and cities and provinces. The national government basically has one job, and that is to make sure that all of the provinces are doing their jobs. Because the national government, the president, so to speak, doesn't do anything. Like the president can't tell the people of the country what to do and what not to do. That's the job of the towns. So that's effectively how I would. That would be my day one. I would remove this whole farce of democracy because I don't think democracy works. Mainly because presidents have to effectively care about being elected again. They're gonna do things that's quick rather than do things that's right. So every president only cares about whatever they can do right now to try and make it look like they're fixing the country rather than actually fixing the country. So what you end up with is government spending money that they don't have on bullshit that they don't need, but it at least grows the economy and people like to see economy go up. Right. And so that's sort of it. And I feel like that's a side effect of the democratic system as it exists currently. The alternative to that would be maybe longer terms. So instead of doing a democratic monarchy, what if you just made the terms? Hey, dude,
built to suck your dick.
Loving the switch to red pill from Wow Lower.
Dan, thank you for the $5, dude. Really appreciate you, man. Thank you. You're so kind. Really appreciate you, sir. What if you just increase the term limits? So rather than every 5 years there's a new election, you made it every 15 years. So a president has 15 years to basically prove to the country whether or not they're a good president. That way they don't have to sort of spend money that they don't have. They don't have to rush to bullshit that they don't need. Instead, you just actually, you get your 15 years, but there's no second term. You just have that 15-year period. Do your best. Like, go nuts. See if you can fix the country. Maybe that might be another system that could maybe work as well. All I know is I don't like democracy because I don't feel like democracy fixes anything. Quick, as in a quick run to KFC before election day. Afrikaners will create a global investment company born out of its diaspora that will create a global network of opportunity and reinvest the money into a specific area. 6-year terms like the Confederates had. Yeah, you probably do that as well. I believe the ANC will be long gone before the 6-month investigation are over. Rama is dragging his feet with this one. So why do you think the ANC will be gone? Because personally, right? So Marcus Neyman, the thing is, you already had that, right? You had Zuma, now you have Ramaphosa. Democracy as it currently stands isn't fixing anything, right? Like, it's not making anything better right now. And I do grant you, it's a system that I would have to implement slowly, right? So I do grant you, at the current rate of voter IQ, of education levels in this country, that system would probably be devastating. But imagine if you could fix the education system, fix sort of generally make the country a little bit more stable, a little bit better. What does that system look like then? Right? Because I am sort of talking about a system in a all other things being equal kind of way. So I personally don't know if the ANC will be gone, but I don't think the GNU is going to exist past this year. I think we'll see the end of the GNU by December, if not earlier. My money is actually on the end of the GNU will be very soon. The DA basically just played their final card by taking Minister Mkhwanazi to the courts. They've effectively backed Ramaphosa into a corner because they can't just make it go away. There's an actual criminal investigation now. Right, and I don't think Ramaphosa was hoping that would happen. So Ramaphosa is probably going to speak to we'll keep an eye out, because over the next few days we'll see what is actually going to happen here. Because one or two things will happen. Either the DA will double down and they'll be like, well, we're taking this man to court, we don't give a crap. Or Ramaphosa is going to speak to John Steenhuisen and he's going to be like, pull away. We're going to have this commission. If you do this, you're out of the GNU. And then we'll see who blinks first. Because right now it feels like it's really a battle of who blinks first. Both the DA and the ANC wants out of the GNU. But neither one of them wants to be seen as the one to leave the GNU. They want the other one to be the one to leave the GNU. Won't stand up to corruption because he's in charge of it. And you are not wrong. Now, I think this is the one thing that most of us now know, right? Most of us in this country know this. This is just a corrupt country. There is no if, buts, or maybes. This is just corrupt. It is what it is, right? The best you can hope for is maybe a little less corruption. You can't hope for no corruption because corruption is sort of part of the DNA of this government. Just my opinion, but you're 100% correct about the GNU. DA is a goner. The thing is just, I don't know if I agree that the DA should have joined the GNU in the first place. I know some people think that they had no other option. But I can't help. Maybe you guys in chat. Do you feel like the DA is getting hurt or helped by being part of the GNU? Zandra, how you doing, man? So anyway, 10 years could also work. So like instead of 15, you do 10. That could probably work as well. He's getting hurt by having Two-Face. Lots of cock, yeah. And now he suspended the dude, but with full pay. Mate, Natasha, I feel you. You're not alone in your anger. I promise you that. I want to be honest with all of you. I think tonight there's a lot of people. No one's surprised, right? We all knew that Ramaphosa wasn't going to do anything. We couldn't be sure like how little anything he was going to do. You know? He's not going to fix shit. But like how much of the shit is he not going to fix? That was the question. getting hurt by just having a two-faced DNA. He's still in charge of the DA. I will not vote DA again. Don't know who I'll vote for, but it won't be DA. That's my problem with voting in this country. I don't know who to vote for. There's not a single political party in South Africa that represents me. I am staunchly conservative. I believe in conservative government. I believe I am quite far right on pretty much every issue except race. I don't give a shit about race. But on every other issue, I am very far to the right. Who do I vote for? I don't know. Right? The Freedom Front Plus believes in a few things that I do. But because they're only a cultural party, I don't want to vote for that. So I don't know who I would vote for. Maybe I should just be a politician and make a quick buck. Maybe Minister of Fresh Air. Dude, I'll be the Minister of Police. I'll erase the Ramaphosa day one. I'll arrest him day one. What I say needs or Primark? Because I'm sensing some Horus Heresy in Ramaphosa. Dude, the Primarks would absolutely destroy this country. There's a couple of where. Cape Town Falls, then tourism is effed. Not wrong. I wish the Moonshot Pact was a success. Neil de Beer wanted to play a dirty game, which I agree with, similar to buying voters streetwise. When he left, I knew the DA was being stubborn. The Moonshot Pact would have probably been a reasonable idea. Absolutely bullshit plan coming from a possible president. Stephen, wait, whose plan? From what president? I had hoped that Rob Hersoff would enter and start a new party. I would have voted for Rob. Now he gave up. Yeah, I also don't know if I agree with Rob Hersoff. I don't. You see, here's the problem. Those who deserve power don't want it, and those who want power don't deserve it. That's the issue. When I listen to the people in this country talk, every single person that I think I might vote for, I look at and I go, I don't trust you. I don't trust that you are, in fact, honest. And so, for example, Action SA, Louisa. Here's my problem with Action SA. Herman Mashaba, prior to the loss of the latest election, right? The last year's election. Herman Mashaba is all in on a non-racial South Africa, all against this blaming apartheid for things. He almost looks like a right-wing politician in many ways. He's against things like expropriation without compensation. He's against things like, BEE. He's against things like affirmative action. He loses last year's election quite badly, I might add. And he flips overnight. Like literally overnight. The man becomes full-blown BE, full-blown affirmative action front and center, full-blown socialist. Overnight. Just like that. How could I vote for someone like that? I like Neil de Beer. I like the way he speaks. He doesn't sound political, and I like that. We probably need a president like that. We need a president that says the F word, like Donald Trump did. We need a president like that. Someone that just doesn't give a shit, you know? They'll just call it as it is. We need that. Don't know how to vote anymore. Andrew, you're not alone, bro. You are not alone. I have no plan. I'm trying to figure it out as we speak. I'm good for accepting anyone from SA. We could find good plots for the farmers. Plenty of land we need to take back from the Chinese and need people to develop it. Grandful, why, thank you very much. I'm sure there's plenty of South Africans that would absolutely take up that offer. Sorry to say, but Cyril's... Bradley, I feel your frustrations, sir. I feel your frustrations. Robertsov gave up on South African recently. He said, get out if you can. I agree. If I'm spared, I will vote Republican in the USA. How many of you, if you feel, and I should make this super clear, Voicey, how you doing, brother? If you feel like your life could be in danger, don't answer this, right? If you feel like you could be targeted or you could be, but how many of you have signed up for the refugee status thing? And again, if you feel like your name could be too revealing, if you feel like they could use this to find out who you are, do not answer this. Because there are groups currently going around harassing people that did sign up for the refugee stuff, so keep that in mind. Rudy say, get out while you can. JDR, he did, yeah. He said it to young people specifically. He basically said if young people were to ask him, that's what he would say. My father and I had a chat and came to a conclusion that we need a conservative party, and I shall carry that sword. Zandru, you and your father, you're not wrong. South Africa needs a conservative movement, not a party. We need a conservative movement. You know, like Turning Point USA? We need that. We need a movement that can tell young people that the current system is broken, but the current system isn't capitalism. See, this is the thing that frustrates me to no end. One of the most sophisticated lies by the political elite in this country and countries around the world is they managed to convince young people that the system that is currently destroying their lives is capitalism. And therefore, they should want socialism instead. And the reason this annoys me to no end is the current South African system couldn't be further away from capitalism. You have a government that's involved in every single element of society, of the markets, of the economy. You cannot do business without permission from the government. You cannot do business. You cannot even open a bank account without rules and regulations from the government. The government controls where you can live, how you can live, how much you can pay for living, what you can use, what you cannot use, what you can sell, what you cannot sell. Can you import? Can you not import? You need permission from the government to do all of that. If you want to build a house, the government controls where you can build that house, how you can build that house, how tall you can build that house. The government controls every element of this society. And yet people think they live in a capitalistic society. People think that they live under capitalism, when in reality they live under socialism. Why do people ignore that verse in the Bible about worldly leaders in Ephesians or something? What do you mean? Which verse in the Bible? I'm turning 66 and I have 4 fur babies. Don't think I qualify. Linda, as far as I know, I don't think there is any age restriction on it. My fiance committed suicide because he could not find work. I'm so sorry to hear that, Marshy. My sister-in-law and 2 daughters tortured for hours, survived when 6-year-old daughter climbed through a small window and ran down the street. I am so sorry to hear that. Isn't that communism? Profile depends which leftist you ask, right? Most men amongst the most ethnic in my age group, Gen Z, you're in Pretoria, do not believe the anti-capitalist propaganda. That's good, Andreas. I really hope that people will start to wake up to the lies that's being spun about capitalism. Intimidate or change my mind, I'm out. Actually, I respect that. I've heard this rhetoric before in America. They keep blaming on capitalism, but will gladly endorse socialism. Ghost, but that's the beautiful lie, right? That's why I said it's the greatest lie that's ever been sort of sold to the people of this world. The current system that is destroying people's lives is socialism, but they have dressed it up as if it's capitalism. So people are now screaming for socialism, which would allow the government to merely take more power, not realizing that the very reason their lives suck already is because the government has this much power. And again, all you have to do to see the beauty of capitalism is look to Argentina. Just last night, I was doing research on Argentina's economy. Dudes, Argentina is booming. Argentina is exploding. They're saving money left, right, and center. Their economy is finally growing after years and decades of suffering. Teresa, how are you doing? Mkhwanazi is the word. God knows. Champagne socialists. Well, the thing about socialists and communists is that they're capitalists when no one's watching, right? How's Chainsaw President doing? Oh, Grofile. Chainsaw President's doing well. You should go look at some of the stats for Argentina. Argentina is pumping. Ramaphosa is scam president. He worked with criminals. South Africa, now it's time for him out of the state. Nzoku, apologies if I'm not saying your name correctly, but Ramaphosa will not step out. Not anytime soon. And I'm not sure if I would want Ramaphosa to step out because what replaces him is even worse. Paul Mashatila is not going to be a good president of this nation. And he will be the follow-up. Like, does anyone actually want to live there? Look into Argentina. Ghost, do yourself a favor, man. Do yourself a favor. Look at the Argentinian economy. I'm not even from Argentina, right? And I was sitting there going, man, well played. Like, well played. You feel a sense of happiness for the people of Argentina, seeing how well their economy is doing. Because if you know anything about the Argentinian economy, you will know that they have suffered for a long time, right? Like, things have not been fun for them. I like Malay. He's the good type of madman. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Ephesians 6:12. Let me quickly check that out. Hold up. 6:12. For we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. What do you mean people don't pay attention to this, Rad? I mean, even non-Christians know this verse very, very well, right? Although this particular verse in this instance is not actually sort of applicable to the current situation, right? Because it is specifically talking about this is not our war, right? Our war is against the principalities of evil, and that's the one that we should focus on. But it also doesn't mean that we sit back and watch inequity and watch the rulers and the authorities destroy the world around us. Should Steenhuisen be president? I don't think I want Steenhuisen as president, no. Like, holy crap, dude. I'm not sure I like Steenhuisen. I realize that's a hot take, and maybe a lot of you don't like that because a lot of people like Steenhuisen, but I'm not going to, I don't particularly like him. Thomas, hold up. Let me just quickly see. You said Luke 6:45 and Deuteronomy 29. Luke 6:45. You guys are gonna make me lose my place where I'm about to read tonight. The good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of the evil treasure produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaks. True. 100% true. Is Argentina doing well now because they adopted capitalism? Keynesy, it's more than capitalism. The man's a libertarian. Um, he basically just opened the market. If you think about capitalism, there's a whole bunch of nonsense about capitalism, specifically in the modern era, right? In the modern world, the things that people learn at university about what capitalism is so far off, because all capitalism effectively is freedom, right? The idea, the father of capitalism is a man by the name of Adam Smith. And Adam Smith is a Scottish economist, and he was standing on the harbor in Scotland, and he was looking at the boats coming in. And at the time, the only way for you to charter a boat to take to India to trade was to get special permission from the king. So you needed to have a lot of money so that you could petition the king to get special permission from the king so that you could charter a boat. Then you needed the money for the boat as well. Once you had the charter document, you could now sail to India, come back, but then the president or the king would also take 20% of whatever you brought back, right? And Adam Smith looked at the system and realized that there are hundreds and thousands of dock workers that will never be able to buy a boat. They'll never be able to afford to actually be the ones going to India and bringing stuff back. So capitalism was really dreamt up from the idea that if you have the money to buy a boat or build your own boat, why can't you sail to India and go buy spices and come trade it here? Why do you need permission from the king? Like, if you can have a boat, you can just go. Right? So that's the idea of capitalism, is if you can think of doing it, why can't you just do it? Right? That's the whole idea. Okay, so Deuteronomy 28. Hold up. The Lord will strike you with madness and blindness and confusion of mind, and you shall grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness, and you shall not prosper in your ways, and you shall be only oppressed and robbed continually, and there shall be no one to help you. The issue is here, I would need to read the whole of Deuteronomy, and I've not gotten there yet. I'm still working my way through, my second time through the New Testament. I'll get to the Old Testament, but I would have to read the whole passage in within the context. So I'm going to have to start here in order to make sense of what it says there. Mario is a racist deluxe. It's always, well, here's some good news, Sky, and to everyone else here. Some good news. He didn't blame apartheid. Which, that is at least some good news. Wayne, why do you ask? A lot of unnecessary fat in the government when he got into office. Did YouTube just block my CCP message? JDR, YouTube can get weird. I didn't see any blocked messages, but YouTube can get super weird. I'm Randek. I don't read from the Quran. I'm not Muslim, so that's the only good news. Not blaming the past. Very surprising. Actually, Thomas, yes, I am surprised because the ANC seems to be, like, whenever they can, they blame literally anything but themselves. Whatever moment they have, they'll blame literally anything but themselves. Didn't block the CCP message. I was just blind. Oh, right. I didn't see it, but then again, there's been a lot of you chatting, so I may have missed it. Someone asked if I'm a Zionist. What's the definition of a Zionist, in your opinion? Because everyone has different definitions of it. Do I think Israel and the Jews deserve their own homeland? Yes. I don't know if that makes me a Zionist, but yes. Do I think what Israel is doing right now in Gaza is smart or good? No. And I don't even care necessarily about the people dying. It's war, people die. It's more a case of if Israel's idea was to defeat Hamas, they've chosen the worst possible way of doing it. Because they've literally they're just creating new Hamas members. Right? So yeah, I don't know. I think this is a very stupid way of trying to fight Hamas. Not that there's a good way to fight Hamas, because Hamas hides behind, civilians. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really care much about the stuff going on in the Middle East, I'll be honest with you. We have our problems here in South Africa. I don't have the luxury of giving a shit about what's going on in the Middle East. When South Africa is finally rich and everyone's living the good life, I'll start giving a shit about other countries. For now, I would like to focus on fixing my country first. And let things that's happening halfway across the world happen to those people. It's got nothing to do with me. Only people in positions of luxury can worry about other people's problems. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much in agreement. I'm just busy with my own shit, dude. I don't have time. I just heard my president announce that we're doing another commission, right? I don't know what to tell you. Let's see what happens to this commission first, and then maybe after this we can worry about the Middle East. I feel the same. America here has its own problems too. Yeah, man. Every country should just take care of its own shit. Let every other country just do its stuff, and everyone just leave everyone alone. But all right, boys. I want to start a political YouTube channel. I'm too scared. People will come for my family. My views are far right, like borderline right. Zandru, say what you feel you need to say. I will say, though, I myself am not far right. I'm very right wing, but I'm not far right. And I don't think the correct position to be would be far right. Because I think you introduce a world that is unsustainable, right? It's not a world that you can actually achieve, nor is it a world that you may even want. But I would say, how important do you think your message is? If you think your message is important, you can't be afraid of what people will do to your family. You have to say what you believe, right? I had to weigh all of that up before I made my first video. I had to ask myself, do I want to put myself out there? Do I want to be attacked? Do I want people to be angry at me? Do I want people to not agree with me? And ultimately, my answer was, I don't give a shit. I believe that this country requires people to speak and to speak honestly. And so I say what I think, and that's the end of it. That's all you can do. Is it right? But the left is being such morons. It's pushing me further. You're not alone. I love socialism, good coffee, and expensive laptops. Romario has been a nothing burger for 2 decades now. Suave talker, smooth operator. Skywalker, you're not wrong. Although he sounds like he's always tired. Please start a political party. I'm Randik. I will definitely not start a political party. At least not now. I don't think I'm called to be a politician. I'm way too honest to be a politician. No one will vote for me because my first speech to the people of South Africa will be like, if you vote for me, life will be hell for a few years. But when you have a sick country, you need to take your medicine. And that'll just be my first speech. No one's electing that. People want to hear nice words. They want to hear if you vote for me, I'll give you cookies and cream, or some bullshit like that. Roxanne, how you doing? So I already told the story of my accent a little earlier in the stream, but I'll just give you a quick rundown. My accent is, I'm South African. I was born in South Africa. I lived my entire life in South Africa. But my accent has sort of been influenced by friends from the UK, friends from America, friends from Europe, with whom I've spent the vast majority of my adult life talking to 12 to 16 hours a day to these people. So my accent's pretty much international, let's say. But yeah, it's a weird accent. I get it. I get that there's a lot of people very confused. Some people hate it. Some people don't mind it that much. But yeah, it's sort of all over the place. Maybe it's related to Ben Carson. All right, boys. I think that's going to be it. That's going to be it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. I'm going to be researching the judge, and I'll be researching the new incoming police minister or whatever. See if I can find something, because I've heard some strange stuff about, apparently he's connected to Ramaphosa. Both of them has some connections to Ramaphosa, so I'm going to be researching that quite a bit. And I'll make some videos tomorrow on those topics, as well as whatever else we find. I'll keep you guys up to date. This is my day job, JDR, making YouTube videos and live streaming, sort of what I do. So yeah, it's a good life, I guess. Old me, hoe gaan het? Wat kan ek vir jou sê, bro? Ek weet daar so baie van julle wat vas oortuig is, of ek weet daar was 'n klomp mense wat vas oortuig was van dat ek is nie Afrikaans nie. Ek het even ouens gehad wat vir my gesê het die Afrikaanse sin in die begin van my laaste video was rehearsed. So ek kan Afrikaans praat. As jy wil ek met Afrikaans praat, sal ek Afrikaans praat. Dit voel snaaks om Afrikaans te praat op video's, want ek praat nooit Afrikaans op video's nie. Maar ek kan, as ek moet. If you don't become a political leader, I will force you. That's fair. Nee, jy weet jy is Afrikaans, jy rol jou R. JDR, some people did pick that up, yes. Some people immediately went, wait, that R is being rolled like a proper boertjie. Which is true, right? It's absolutely true. The Afrikaans English people do roll the R very, very much. And they also speak like this. I can't do an Afrikaans English accent, but I can sort of do it. What you just said, Ghost, I was literally just saying, some people accused me of rolling, or some people accused me of not speaking Afrikaans at the beginning of my last video, and instead I rehearsed it. So I just did it live so people could actually go, oh, yeah, okay, clearly he can at least speak Afrikaans. Old but still funny. Like this, very deliciously. Yes, exactly like that. Get lost in the Afrikaans. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go off. It's already late, and I still need to go read some Bible, sleep, and then tomorrow we'll do some research. I want to know if this judge is connected to Cyril Ramaphosa. Something tells me there's something weird going on here. I don't know why. My Afrikaans is kapot. Living in City, I speak KP. Marcia, I mean, I live in Cape Town as well, but I can say, luckily, the Cape Townian Afrikaans has not yet taken over my accent. I'm still rocking my proper Northern Afrikaans, I guess you could say. And Randy, so I don't know when we'll be live next. I'll see if I can go live on Twitch. Maybe just play games or some shit over on Twitch. But I have to focus on videos and stuff first. So I first do videos, I make sure that I get all the videos out, and then we can look at live streams and such. For now, it's just non-stop research. I'm doing so much research. I'm sick of reading at this point. But it has to be done. So it has to be done. What else did I want to say? Nothing, actually. I want to wish all of you a very, very nice Sunday evening, or Sunday for those of you that's living in America, and those of you in Europe and South Africa. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday evening. Thank you so much to all of you for coming out, for hanging out with me, for spending your time with me. I hope you had fun. I had fun. Yes, Cyril Ramaphosa spoke absolute nonsense, but we made fun of him, and it was a good time. I enjoyed it. So we'll do this again, hopefully sometime soon. I might do some more streams at some point. Just have to find scheduling and all the rest of it. But I really appreciate all of you for hanging out, for spending your time with me. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.